Welcome to Love Those Locks. We are back with another video. I think it's been a couple of years. So if you are new here, welcome. If you're a returning visitor or viewer, welcome. I am going to run through my hair journey and also just describe to you what I'm doing next. So I have had the Sisterlocks for 7 years and 1 month, and this is my second Sisterlocks journey. And I'm going to say a bit more later on, but I have decided to combine my Sisterlocks, and I am going to go into a few more details about that. So as I say, it's been just over 7 years since I started this second Sisterlocks journey. My locks were, well, my loose natural hair was between 4 and 6 inches long, and I'm going to start undoing it actually so that you can see the length. It's grown a little bit over time, and let's just get it all down so that you can see it. Take this off. And during the time I've had my Sisterlocks, my retightening schedule has been every 4 to 5 weeks, so pretty regular, every 4 to 5 weeks. At the current time, it's been 11 weeks since my last retightening, and I'm actually really enjoying the fact that I haven't had a retightening in a very long time. So before I go on, I'll just show you what we're working with at this point in my journey. So that's the side, that's the back, and I'll go around to the other side. We'll also put in some extra photos as well so that you can see up close where we are. Okay, alright, so normally on a 4 to 5 week retightening schedule, I also henna my hair. I do my henna as and when I need to. It's a bit more frequently these days, and I tend to either just henna the roots or henna all over, and I alternate between the two. So as I say, I have decided to combine my Sisterlocks. Few reasons really. For the health of my scalp. My last retightening, I got home and realised that a few of the Sisterlocks felt very tight, and I was quite uncomfortable, and my husband noticed that in my central part there was a bit of a gap, and that was quite worrying. And I also realised that I wasn't looking forward to the retightenings, and that particular retightening was tight. It was later on in the day, and there were a few of the hairline ones in particular that were very tight. And if I'm honest, I had been thinking about this for a very long time, wondering whether the regular schedule every 4 to 5 weeks was best for me, because my hair grows very slowly, and in that time I actually don't have that much regrowth. Of course, some locks grow faster than others, but not all of them were growing at the same rate, and I personally was starting to feel that every 4 to 5 weeks was a little bit too often, and that was confirmed after the last retightening in December, when my husband spotted that there was a bit of a gap in between the retightenings. I do want to talk a lot more about the retightening schedule, and it would be lovely to hear your experience of it. And I know that different people are on different cadences. I know that because my Sisterlocks are very thin, one of the things my consultant said to me was that I couldn't leave the Sisterlocks too long between retightenings, because then they would quickly become unstable. So I think if you have thicker Sisterlocks, you're able to go for a longer time between retightenings. So it all does depends on the strength of your hair and various other factors. But just from what I was told, I couldn't go longer between those retightening sessions. So I've been spending a lot of time looking at how people are retightening their locks, and what I've done is I've got an experiment in here, I hope I can find it, where I plaited together, let's see if you can see it, I plaited together 3 Sisterlocks, and they're not quite joined at the end, but you can see how that is. It's actually not that thick. That's 3 Sisterlocks together. So I've plaited that. That has survived a few washes so far. So that's my experimental joining. But what I think I will do rather than this, because I'm noticing that this could be quite heavy all over, and depending on the tension on how I plait it, it could either be quite tight or too loose, and then there could be gaps. This one I think has sealed up nicely, but what I've decided instead is to start combining at the root, and perhaps we might put in some photos afterwards, but I'll give you a few examples here where you can see I've joined one at the root. This one's actually 3, and I've just plaited them together at the root where there was loose growth. And there are probably others. Let's see if I can find another one. Ah, here's one that isn't as plaited all the way through, where it's newly joined at the roots. So hopefully you can see that, where it's just where the regrowth is. And I'm just going to see how these develop. I've prioritized the ones around the hairline because those were the thinnest locks, and in fact I had already joined a few of them. Here's one that I joined a long time ago. You can see it's quite thick. This particular lock, this was 2 Sisterlocks which I joined, and then over time with the retightenings it kind of just got knotted in together, as it were. And then what I did with that one, because I had the 2 ends, I actually cut one of the ends off, so you can see where it's quite thick here and then it becomes thin, and that's just where the other lock that was hanging has been cut off. So that was one experiment, which I think I joined these about a year ago. But rather than cutting off the ends, let me go back to, I'll go to this one, which is 3, as you can see. There are 3 together. I'm not going to cut these ends off. I'm going to leave it as is so that it grows together as a lock. So it will be joined at the root, and then over time it will grow out. And I think that this is going to be a softer way to combine my locks rather than plaiting, because I feel that that's too heavy. The one I showed you, wherever it is, this one, I feel that that's too heavy, and to do that all over, and also there'll be different widths or different thicknesses, and actually keeping the overall Sisterlocks look I think will be ideal for me anyway. And over time, as it grows out, I'll just see what it does. So this is going to be a live experiment. I'm combining them while I see what happens. So I've done that initial root combination. I do have 1 or 2 others that are a bit thin, like there's one here, as you can see, and you can probably see the regrowth on that as well. That's quite a thin one, so I'll look to join that with a lock nearby and see how that goes. But the process I'm going to use for all over will just be to lightly plait. And what I do, actually, I didn't tell you the technique I've used to join them. I grab 2, and then I just grab a tiny bit of regrowth, and then I use the regrowth to plait them together so that there'll be a bit of wispy hair that's plaited in, just so that it's not too thick at the root. And if I go through and I feel it, it doesn't feel knotty or knobbly or thick or hard. It feels just right. And you know, I still love Sisterlocks. I love the overall look, but the constant retightening and the retightening of very few strands of hair was too painful for me to continue to do. So I think this is going to be an interesting experiment, and I will share this with you. And I'd love to hear how you're getting on. Perhaps you're combining your Sisterlocks. What's your journey looking like? Or maybe you're just going to follow my journey and see whether it appeals to you or not. So I'm going to be sharing more. We will see how these locks develop. I'll keep my test plaited lock in. Let's see how that fares over time. That will be a very good thing to compare the rest of the locks. And yeah, we'll just see where we go from there. I've got a few more things that I'd like to share just about retightenings generally and my thoughts, but I'll share those in another video. So that is my update. Please like, share, comment, and look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.